We start this episode with Samurai Jack with Aku going on this monologue on how the dark times are rolling in, how hope has been obliterated, how tyranny rules supreme, but the only part in his world that's not right is that darn samurai. In order to deal with this samurai, Aku decides to call on one of his most successful lieutenants, a minion by the name of Dumangu. Now, Dumangu, he sounds like your cartoonish villain, like to the extreme. Like, just listen to his voice.
What is thy bidding, my master?
I can't be the only one that thinks that that's just crazy, right? Like, how high pitched did you get this person to voice Dumangu? Like, dang, way to go, guys. I mean, sheesh. I couldn't ask for a more cowardly sounding weak, pathetic villain. Now, Dumangu, for his part, he willingly accepts the mission that Aku gives him to go hunt down Jack for a couple of reasons, I think. So, Dumangu, his power is that he can take the essence from people he fights with and use that essence once they're defeated. And that just makes him stronger and stronger the more that he fights and more people that he captures, the stronger he is. So, he sees Jack as cream of the crop, the best warrior in all of human history. If he can get Jack, his collection will be complete. Like, there's no one better than Samurai Jack from what we've seen in this season and the last season as well. Like, it's kind of hard to argue against that. But I want to think that maybe there's some deeper levels than just wanting to get Jack for the power and wanting to just do it because Aku said, like, hey, go do this, and if you do it, I'll be happy with you. Now, that's reasonable. I can understand why people would maybe think that that was the only reason why Dumangu would go ahead and do this, and for the most part, that's kind of the vibe we're getting from the show. But I like to give Dumangu just a little bit deeper level. The reason why he wants to go after Samurai Jack and get Samurai Jack's power is that he wants to use Samurai Jack to take down Aku in order for him to become the leader of this dark future. Reasoning for that is that he's a demon and he follows one of the 7 deadly sins of gluttony. The gluttony sin is, well, you're always hungry, always consuming, you're never satisfied, so you're just eating all the time. And that's pretty much what he's going to be doing with the hero essences. He's always eating, always consuming. So that's kind of my line of thinking for Dumangu, is that he primarily wants to go after Jack in order to use Jack to go after Aku, because Aku so far has never been able to defeat Samurai Jack. He's only been able to plan his ignorance and cast him into the future, but never actually full on defeated him, because if he had, well, Jack would be in chains and Aku would have no need for Dumangu at this point. So Dumangu accepts the mission from Aku and he goes off to face off the samurai. Now, him and the samurai meet up out in the barren wastelands and some canyons. Now, isn't it just kind of convenient how often that Jack just ends up meeting these monstrous villains out of the middle of nowhere where they're not inside cities most of the time? Yes, sometimes they fight in the cities, but most of the time he gets lucky and they're out in the wilderness, so there's no bystanders who could get hurt. But I guess, it kind of makes sense because he has to wander the world looking for artifacts, looking for ancient devices that could take him back to the past. So I guess it kind of makes sense why he'd be wandering the wilderness and not ever really inside a city that we only see once in a while within the show, at least from my recollection. Now, their fight starts off pretty standard. Jack faces out against Dumangu. Dumangu throws out his essence, summoning forward a giant warrior to fight against Jack. And, well, Jack uses the terrain to his advantage and pretty easily defeats the first warrior. So Dumangu immediately brings out 3 more warriors. And these ones Jack kind of recognizes because they're from an earlier age. One is an Indian warrior with 4 arms, a knight, and looks like another warrior from Japan, though I wouldn't know what he would call it. He doesn't look like a traditional samurai with a traditional samurai armor on, but he has one of those masks and Asian-looking spear that he's using to fight. Jack has some difficulty against these guys, but it doesn't really last too long, so he's able to dispatch them pretty easily. And after he dispatches them, he points his sword at Dumangu, criticizing him that he has no actual real power, that all he's using is using the power of former heroes, former warriors as a crutch, and if he was to give up all that power, he would be nothing. And Dumangu is like, you're very wise. But who cares? He just makes a face at him and goes back to summoning warriors. And Jack just like, I love the stunned expression that he has here. He's just like, what the heck am I even dealing with? But Dumangu, he doesn't really give Jack too much time to process what he's seeing, because he immediately summons forth those same 3 warriors again, just demonstrating to us that Dumangu, he can summon forth warriors without any problem endlessly. Doesn't matter how many times Jack kills them, but he does it regardless easily again. So Dumangu brings him forward along with a whole horde of warriors this time to take down Jack. And Jack is doing pretty good, but as I just said, he's going to be exhausted eventually and going to die before he exhausts Dumangu's power, because it seems like an endless supply. So seeing that he's not having much chance against these guys, he decides that his best course of action is that once he slays one of the warriors, is to grab onto him and then be sucked into Dumangu with that warrior, because originally they were physical people and now they're being turned to magical immaterial and being sucked into Dumangu. So Jack reasons that if he's grabs onto him, gets sucked in, he might be able to find a way to defeat Dumangu on the inside, because so far on the outside he hasn't been succeeding. So if you can't defeat your enemy without, you gotta go in, baby. And that's what Jack does. He goes within, he finds all the warriors within these blue circlets, demonstrating that they're just all in prison. So Jack goes around cutting them left, right, and center open. Thankfully he has a magical sword, otherwise I'd be questioning how he's able to do that, but he's able to do it, freeing all the warriors that were trapped within inside Dumangu. Now, the magic for how this exactly works, I'm curious about, because how is Jack going to get out? Because it makes sense for everybody else, once their seals are broken, they immediately get teleported out, but Jack, you don't have a seal, you willingly went in, so you have to find a way to get out of Dumangu. Unfortunately, that would show us that we're just supposed to accept that Jack finds his own way out. So I guess it makes sense, but I would have liked to at least have a little demonstration, a little logic on how Jack was able to get out of Dumangu. But regardless, Dumangu is now completely powerless, and all the heroes and warriors he had captured over the years are making a circle around him and start beating him up as Jack walks off into the sunset. Now, this isn't the end of Dumangu, because once Dumangu is defeated, he's brought back to Aku inside of a crystal skull, and he's begging Aku, please, just let me be. Don't hurt me. Just give me a second chance. And you know, Aku, the man of second chances, not really. He immediately destroys Dumangu, and the cycle continues of him trying to find a way to defeat the Samurai before he gets defeated. Overall, I gotta say, I give this episode a 6 out of 10, just because the villain, it was okay. I like the unique take on the vampires, that the essence he takes in isn't actually blood, but the actual warriors themselves, and he can use them to fight. So I like that aspect. But there wasn't much depth to him at all, except for him going on willing to fight for a coup. Like, you could add some subtle layers, have a nice conversation of him trying to convince Jack to join him, and together they could go kill a coup, or just have us demonstrate a little more to his personality than just, yes, my master, I will go out and do this for you. It's okay, it's fun, and for the show, it works just fine. I mean, after all, this is made for kids around the 7-8-year-old age, so I really doubt anyone was really picking up on, like, this character's kind of bland at that age, but still, as an adult who's watching it right now, I preferred a little bit more into character development, so that takes a massive point away from there. I thought the fights, they were fun, but you could have made it a little more unique. You have the ability to have a whole bunch of unique heroes coming out that could have done a whole more unique abilities, but it's pretty much standard Jack fighting against sword and blade against other warriors with swords and blades, so it's alright. The fights were fine. They didn't really have any too major issues with those. I just would have preferred, once again, maybe a little more unique take on the warriors that Jack would be facing. Just my personal take on that one. Otherwise, the music was done well. The art style, that's more of a personal preference, but I still love it, so I still give it a thumbs up there. So overall, a good episode. Not a great episode, but you're not going to hate it in any way. It's just, I can't really say it's one of the better episodes I've seen so far. But that's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I look forward to hearing about them. Leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later. Take care now. Bye.